Have you ever found yourself waking up in the middle of the night, not just once, but 2 or even 3 times, just to use the bathroom? At first, it's easy to shrug it off. It's just part of getting older, you tell yourself. But over time, the impact adds up. You start the day already exhausted. Your energy dips. Your focus fades. And no matter how early you go to bed, the interruptions just keep coming. You're not the only one. Millions of adults over 50 experience this nightly disruption, known as nocturia. And while it may seem like a minor annoyance, it can actually be a warning sign, your body's quiet way of saying something's off balance. Let me share a quick story. A patient of mine, early 70s, came in not with a complaint, but with a question: why am I so tired, even though I'm not sick? He was waking up every couple of hours to urinate, not in pain, just endlessly interrupted. The fatigue was starting to affect everything: his balance, his memory, even his will to stay active. His labs were fine. No infections. No blood sugar spikes. But his diet? Bland. Repetitive. Low in variety and nutrients. No fruits. No greens. And definitely no supplements. We made a few small adjustments, better food choices, a bit of sun each day, and a simple nutrient plan to support his muscles and nerves. A few weeks later, he smiled and said, "I still get up sometimes, but not like before. I'm finally sleeping again." Stories like his are why this video matters. Because sometimes, solving a problem isn't about stronger pills, it's about smarter care. So stay with me. Because in the next few minutes, I'll show you 3 often overlooked nutrients that could help you sleep through the night and wake up feeling like yourself again. Number 1, Vitamin C. Let's start with one of the most underrated yet powerful defenders in your body's toolkit, the one that fights quietly, behind the scenes: inflammation. You see, one major reason people feel the constant urge to urinate, especially at night, is hidden inflammation in the bladder lining or the lower urinary tract. It's not always painful, and it doesn't show up in lab tests unless it gets severe. But this low-grade irritation sends false signals to the brain: go now, even if the bladder isn't full. That's where this nutrient comes in. It helps calm that inflammation, dialing down the false alarms so your body isn't waking you up unnecessarily. But it doesn't stop there. Vitamin C also plays a major role in keeping bladder tissue strong and elastic. As we age, the body produces less collagen, yes, the same collagen you hear about in skincare. But collagen isn't just for your skin. It's what keeps your bladder stretchy and stable, so it can hold more urine without sending out early signals. And this vitamin helps stimulate your body's natural collagen production. Think of it like tuning up a rubber band that's lost its stretch. The stronger the tissue, the more efficiently your bladder can do its job. Without calling for a bathroom break at 2 a.m. There's more. Vitamin C is a powerful antioxidant. It protects the bladder's cells from oxidative stress, damage that builds up over time, especially with age, poor diet, or long-term medication use. If oxidative stress is like rust on metal, antioxidants like this one are your built-in rust remover. So where do you find it? Citrus fruits are a classic source, like oranges, lemons, and grapefruits, but don't stop there. Berries, bell peppers, even broccoli are packed with it. And for those who don't eat enough of these foods, a well-formulated supplement can help fill the gap. When you give your body more of this defender, you're not just fighting off colds, you're strengthening the bladder, calming unnecessary signals, and giving your nights back the peace they deserve. Now that we know what this vitamin does for your bladder, the next question is, how do you actually get enough of it? Luckily, it's not complicated, and you don't need fancy superfoods or expensive powders. Some of the best sources are already in your kitchen. Oranges, lemons, grapefruits, strawberries, and kiwis are great choices. Even vegetables like bell peppers and broccoli contain impressive amounts. But here's a tip many people don't know: heat can reduce the vitamin content in certain foods. So when possible, try to enjoy some of these fruits and veggies raw, lightly steamed, or added fresh to salads and smoothies. Now, what if you're someone who doesn't eat much fruit? Or you've got digestive issues that make raw veggies hard to tolerate? In those cases, a supplement might be a smart backup. Look for a form that's gentle on the stomach, like buffered vitamin C, and start with a moderate dose, unless your doctor advises otherwise. More isn't always better. What your body needs is steady, consistent support, not a megadose all at once. And here's something else to keep in mind: timing matters. Try taking your vitamin C in the morning, or at lunch, rather than right before bed. Some people find that high doses late at night may slightly increase alertness, not ideal when you're trying to wind down. Remember, this isn't about fixing things overnight. It's about rebuilding balance. And when you consistently give your bladder the nutrients it needs, you may notice fewer nighttime interruptions, and deeper, more restful sleep. Coming in at number 2, let's talk about a vitamin that does a lot more than people give it credit for: vitamin D. Most of us think of it as the sunshine vitamin for bone health, which is true. But what many people don't realize is that vitamin D also plays a critical role in 2 areas directly connected to nighttime urination: muscle control and nerve signaling. Here's why that matters. Your bladder isn't just a container, it's a muscle. And the muscles around it are part of a complex system that helps hold, release, and control urine. If those muscles become weak, sluggish, or too reactive, you'll start to feel urges more frequently, especially at night when the body's rhythms shift. Vitamin D helps maintain proper muscle tone, making sure that these support systems stay strong and responsive. Low levels of it can lead to poor muscle coordination, which translates into weaker bladder control and more trips to the bathroom. But it doesn't stop with muscles. There's also the neurological side. Your bladder doesn't act on its own, it listens for signals from the brain. Vitamin D has been shown to influence how well those signals are sent and received. When you're deficient, the communication between brain and bladder can get fuzzy. And when that happens, your body might misread how full your bladder actually is, prompting unnecessary wake-ups. This might explain why people with low vitamin D often report symptoms like overactive bladder, urgency, or fragmented sleep, without knowing the cause. And here's the twist: vitamin D deficiency is incredibly common, especially in older adults. As we age, our skin becomes less efficient at producing it from sunlight. On top of that, we tend to spend more time indoors, eat less, and have more conditions that interfere with absorption. So if you've been waking up at night and no one can figure out why, this might be a missing piece of the puzzle. So how can you make sure your body is getting enough of this crucial nutrient? The simplest and most natural way is sunlight. Just 15 to 20 minutes of morning sun, without sunscreen, can help your skin produce the vitamin D your body needs. But that's not always easy, especially if you live in a colder climate, have darker skin, or spend most of your time indoors. That's why food becomes your next line of defense. Fatty fish like salmon, sardines, and mackerel are rich sources. Egg yolks, fortified dairy products, and even certain cereals can give you a good boost. But here's the reality: most people still don't get enough through diet alone. In those cases, a low-dose supplement can help fill the gap, especially during the winter months or for older adults whose absorption tends to decline. Look for vitamin D3, which is the form most easily used by the body. And don't assume more is better. Too much vitamin D can be harmful, so it's best to stay within the range your doctor recommends. One more tip: if you're taking a supplement, try having it with a meal that contains healthy fat, like olive oil or avocado. Vitamin D is fat-soluble, meaning it absorbs best when paired with fat in your food. Getting your levels back into a healthy range won't change everything overnight. But it could be the subtle shift your body needs to regain control, muscle strength, nerve function, and most importantly, uninterrupted sleep. Sometimes, the most powerful solutions aren't loud. They're quiet, consistent, and exactly what your body was waiting for. Before we move on to the next nutrient, if you've made it this far, you're clearly someone who cares about your health, or the health of someone you love. Take a second to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and maybe even share it with someone who's been struggling with the same issue. Alright, let's get back to it, because the next vitamin could be the one that finally helps you sleep through the night. At number 3, let's talk about one of the most overlooked yet essential minerals when it comes to nighttime bladder control: magnesium. You've probably heard of magnesium for muscle cramps or maybe for stress relief. But what many people don't realize is that magnesium plays a direct role in how your bladder behaves at night. Here's how it works: your bladder is surrounded by smooth muscles that contract and relax throughout the day and night. When magnesium levels are too low, those muscles can become tense or overactive. That tension triggers unnecessary urges, even when your bladder isn't actually full. And that's exactly what wakes you up at 1, 2, or 3 a.m. But it's not just about muscles. Magnesium also helps regulate the nerves that send signals between your bladder and your brain. When those nerves are overstimulated, often due to a lack of magnesium, they send out false alarms. The result? You feel like you have to go again and again, even if there's hardly anything there. In fact, some studies have shown that people who supplement with magnesium report fewer nighttime bathroom trips, improved bladder control, and even better sleep quality overall. It's a gentle fix, but one that goes deep. And here's something important: magnesium deficiency is far more common than most people think. Diets high in processed food and low in leafy greens, nuts, seeds, and whole grains make it easy to fall short. Add age-related absorption issues, and you've got a recipe for trouble, especially when it comes to nighttime rest. So, if you've been waking up several times a night for no clear reason, magnesium might be a quiet culprit, and also a powerful solution. So, how do you start getting more magnesium into your daily routine? Thankfully, you don't need to overhaul your entire diet. Some of the most magnesium-rich foods are simple, everyday staples. Think dark leafy greens like spinach and kale, nuts like almonds and cashews, and seeds, especially pumpkin and sunflower seeds. Even whole grains like brown rice and quinoa can make a real difference over time. One thing to keep in mind is that magnesium works best when it's part of a balanced diet, not just thrown in on top of everything else. It supports your muscles, your nerves, even your stress response. So, when your whole system is out of rhythm, like when you're tired, anxious, and waking up at night, magnesium can act like a reset button. But what if you're not getting enough from food alone? That's when supplements can help. A low to moderate dose of magnesium, especially in forms like magnesium glycinate or magnesium citrate, can be gentle on the stomach and more absorbable than cheaper options. Just avoid taking too much too quickly. High doses can cause digestive upset. Timing also matters. Many people find it helpful to take magnesium in the evening, maybe an hour before bed. It naturally supports muscle relaxation and may help calm your nervous system, which is especially helpful if you're someone who has trouble winding down at night. The key is consistency. When you support your body with the magnesium it needs, both from food and, if needed, smart supplements, you give your bladder, your nerves, and your sleep a much better chance to work together, not against each other. And over time, that can mean fewer nighttime interruptions, and much deeper rest. Now that we've talked about the nutrients your body may be missing, let's talk about something just as important: your daily habits. Because even the right vitamins won't work as well if your lifestyle is constantly working against them. Let's start with the basics: hydration timing. Yes, drinking water is essential, but when you drink it matters. Try to get most of your fluids in earlier in the day. Then, about 2 to 3 hours before bedtime, start tapering off. This gives your body time to process and eliminate excess fluid, so your bladder isn't working overtime while you're trying to rest. Caffeine and alcohol? They're bladder irritants, especially later in the day. Even that afternoon coffee or glass of wine with dinner can increase your chances of nighttime trips. If possible, cut them off by early afternoon, or skip them altogether on days when sleep is already fragile. Here's another surprisingly helpful tip: elevate your legs for 20 to 30 minutes before bedtime. This helps shift fluid that may have pooled in your lower legs during the day back into circulation, so your kidneys can process it before you lie down. And then there's movement. Regular light exercise, especially walking, keeps your circulation healthy, your metabolism active, and your pelvic muscles strong. It doesn't need to be intense. In fact, just 20 minutes a day of gentle activity can support both your sleep quality and bladder function. Speaking of muscles, pelvic floor exercises are often overlooked but incredibly effective. These exercises strengthen the muscles that help you hold it in, improving bladder control and reducing urgency. You don't need a gym or any equipment. Just consistency, and maybe a reminder on your phone to do them daily. Lastly, set yourself up for rest. Dim the lights an hour before bed. Turn off screens. Let your brain and body know that it's time to wind down. Better sleep habits amplify everything else you're doing right. Because when you align good nutrition with smart habits, that's when the real change begins: not just fewer bathroom trips, but a life that feels more rested, balanced, and in control. At the end of the day, this conversation isn't just about waking up at night. It's about what your body is trying to tell you, and whether you're listening. Frequent nighttime urination may feel like a small nuisance. But in reality, it's a reflection of deeper imbalances, nutritional gaps, weakened muscle control, poor communication between your brain and bladder. And often, it builds up slowly, quietly, until you start forgetting what deep rest even feels like. But here's the good news, you're not stuck with it. You've now seen how certain nutrients can restore the very systems your body depends on at night, how simple shifts in what you eat, how you move, and when you hydrate can transform your sleep and your energy the next day. The real lesson: aging isn't the problem. Neglect is. And no matter your age, the body still wants to heal. It still responds, sometimes quickly, to the right support. So don't wait for things to get worse before you make them better. Start with one habit. Add one food. Reclaim one night of rest. And from there, keep going. Because sometimes, the first step toward healing is simply paying attention. If this video helped you see things a little differently, or gave you a simple place to start, please consider subscribing to the channel. And if someone you care about is struggling with restless nights or silent fatigue, don't keep this to yourself, share it with them. You never know how much one small insight can change someone's daily life. Thank you for spending this time with us. Take care of your body, and it will take care of you, day and night. See you in the next video. Stay well.